CBS The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. October 20-24. The Bold and the Beautiful. A prison confrontation turns into a mother-daughter war. Poppy vs. Luna, Nozawa style. This wasn't a visit. It was a reckoning. The prison walls echoed with the sharp click of heels as Poppy Nozawa made her entrance. Unhurried, unreadable, and armed with venom behind a velvet smile. She didn't come to comfort her daughter. She didn't come to plead for her innocence. Poppy came to test her. To corner her. To push Luna into revealing what she's always suspected. What does Luna Nozawa really want? The answer, it turns out, is far more dangerous than anyone thought. Luna, cuffed and clad in cold steel blues, barely looked up at first. But the tension shifted the second she heard the voice. Her mother's voice. Light as silk, sharp as a scalpel. I must say, Poppy began. Circling the table. You always had a knack for turning disaster into opportunity. Pregnant by a Spencer? You really are my daughter. The air froze. There was no warmth, no concern, just a mocking smile. Luna's jaw clenched. She knew what this was. This wasn't love. This was Poppy baiting her. Playing a game they'd both played since Luna was a child. A game of blame, performance, and manipulation. Only this time, the stakes weren't just a mother's approval. This time, the stakes were freedom, identity, and whatever scraps of morality Luna had left. But Poppy didn't stop. Tell me, she leaned in, voice syrupy, was it always the plan? Trap a teenage heir to $1 billion empire? Secure a place at the Spencer table? You must be proud. Luna snapped, you taught me how to survive. Isn't that what you always said? Poppy's smile didn't falter. Oh, sweet girl, I taught you to adapt. Not to drug, deceive, and destroy. Don't you dare stand there and act holy, Luna hissed. Eyes blazing. You're the one who gave me those candies when I was 12 because you said anxiety was unattractive. You're the one who told me crying makes men run. You're the one who taught me that worth equals value. And value means how much power you have in a room full of rich people. Don't rewrite history. Luna, I'm not rewriting. I'm remembering. Finally, the emotional trap was sprung. Poppy's eyes narrowed, ever so slightly. Luna had taken the bait, but not the way she expected. Instead of collapsing under her mother's condescension, Luna leaned in. She was angry, clear, focused, and dangerous. Poppy decided to push further. So what's your real goal, Is it the Spencer name? The inheritance? The child support? Or is it something pathetic like wanting to play house with Will and pretend this all wasn't an act? Luna didn't blink. What do you want it to be? You tell me, Poppy challenged, her voice dropping. You're the one who staged a whole fantasy romance. Drugged that poor boy, and ended up knocked up like some desperate extra on a trashy soap opera. Luna exhaled slowly. That poor boy chased me for months. You just didn't see it because you were too busy stalking your next well-positioned donor. Or, should I say, sugar daddy? The gloves were off now. Flashbacks flickered through Luna's mind, memories from her childhood like shards of broken glass. Watching her mother flirt with wealthy men at parties. Being left alone in hotel rooms with nothing but glowing screens and Poppy's perfume lingering in the air. The first time she was told that love was a lie, that trust was a weakness, that success meant controlling the narrative, even if that meant distorting it beyond recognition. And the pills. Always the pills. You're too emotional, Luna, Poppy would say, slipping her one of the so-called candies. No one likes a needy girl. Swallow and smile. Luna stared across the table, that same bitterness boiling over. Do you know what's sad, Poppy? I don't even know if the way I feel is real. Or if you just trained me to think this way. Poppy raised an eyebrow. And yet you managed to outdo me. Bravo. But Luna wasn't done. She leaned forward, eyes locked onto her mother's like daggers. You think I planned all of this? You think I wanted to become this? You think I wanted to live inside your twisted definition of success? You built me for this life, then hated me when I started living it. Oh please, Poppy scoffed. Don't act like a victim. You loved every second of it. Until it got out of hand. Until someone got hurt. And now you want sympathy? Luna's voice dropped into something cold. You want to talk about getting hurt? How about the time I OD'd on those candies you swore were safe? How about the panic attacks I had in middle school while you were too busy sleeping with some venture capitalist to pick me up from rehearsal? How about the times I begged you to stop, to just be my mom? And you said, mothers don't raise winners, coaches do. The silence was suffocating. Then Poppy cracked, just a little. I did what I had to do. You think life was easy for me? You think I had choices? I gave you more than I ever had. Luna's reply was icy. You didn't give me a life. You gave me a blueprint for emotional warfare. And now you're mad that I followed it better than you ever could. Suddenly, the emotional lines began to blur. Was this an interrogation or a confession? Was Poppy here to manipulate or to test how far Luna had fallen? Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe Poppy didn't even know anymore. But the final blow came fast. You used to practice crying in the mirror, Luna said. You once told me that tears were currency. That you had to spend them wisely. Is that what this is, Mom? Another currency exchange? Another performance? Poppy's mask slipped, just for a second. Then she stood, smoothing the wrinkles in her coat. I came to see who you've become. And now I know. As she turned to leave, Luna stood too, rattling the chains between her wrists. Then you should know this. Every terrible thing you see in me, you put there. Every scheme, every secret, every lie, you built it. You passed it down. The Nozawa legacy isn't wealth. It's rot. Poppy paused at the door, her voice a whisper. Then make sure you don't pass it down to your child. And with that, she was gone. No promises of help. No motherly redemption. Just silence and shadows. Inside the sterile walls of the prison, Luna sat down, shaking but not broken. Because for the first time, she saw her mother for what she really was, not a savior. Not a monster. Just a reflection of everything Luna might still become if she doesn't fight like hell to change. Course. This was no longer just about freedom. It was about breaking the cycle. And in the days to come, the truth about the Nozawa women, about their secrets, their schemes, and the poison passed from mother to daughter, would explode into the lives of every Spencer, Forrester, and Logan in Los Angeles. Because Poppy didn't leave to walk away. She left to make her next move. And Luna? She's not done talking. She's just getting started. Steffi's nightmare, Hope's heartbreak, and Poppy's dark reveal. Steffi Forrester came home for peace. What she walked into was a psychological horror show. Her long-awaited return to Los Angeles was supposed to be a moment of healing. A chance to reconnect with her family, regroup, and move forward. She was ready to slip into the warmth of domestic bliss with her daughter Kelly, her baby Hayes, and her ever-shirtless husband, Dr. John Finnegan, who, by unwritten Forrester contract, refuses to wear a shirt for more than 13% of screen time. But the peace she craved was never meant to last. Not in this town. Not in this family. The second she steps through the door, Steffi is hit with a bombshell so vile, it shakes the ground beneath her feet. Luna Nozawa is still alive. Yes, Luna, the same woman who drugged her, locked her in a cage, and tried to kill her, is breathing, walking, and living among the population. That revelation hits like a freight train. Steffi's face says it all, rage simmering beneath disbelief. This wasn't just a stalker. This was a full-fledged attempted murderer who infiltrated her home, violated her safety, and now, worse still, remains tied to her forever through blood. Because Luna isn't just anyone. She's Finn's daughter. That unshakable fact is a nightmare Steffi cannot wake up from. Luna's existence isn't a fleeting threat. It's a permanent scar, a tether that connects Steffi to trauma indefinitely. She thought this chapter was over. She thought she'd won. Instead, she's staring down the barrel of a future where the woman who tried to end her might also one day call her Mom. The betrayal cuts deeper than words. How is Steffi supposed to trust a husband whose loyalties now include the woman who tried to destroy her? And let's be honest, Finn is trying. He's caught in a brutal emotional crossfire between paternal guilt and marital obligation. But if he thinks for 1 second that Steffi will allow Luna back into their lives as part of some twisted reconciliation arc, he's dreaming. Because Steffi Forrester has had enough. And what she wants now is control. Over her house. Over her marriage. Over her life. Don't be surprised when Steffi issues Finn an ultimatum. It's Luna, or it's me. There's no in-between. No compromise. Not after what Luna did. The idea that Finn would even attempt to build a relationship with his newly discovered daughter. This daughter is, to Steffi, pure betrayal. Her family's safety, her mental health, her very sense of identity were shattered by Luna. And that's not something you just forgive. That's something you burn to the ground. Meanwhile, in another dimension of emotional chaos, Hope Logan finds herself once again ensnared in the maddening logic of her parents. Brooke Logan and Deacon Sharp, who have apparently decided to write the book on how not to give relationship advice. These two sit her down for a little heart-to-heart, and what do they say? Open your heart to Liam again. Excuse us? Have they not been paying attention for the last decade? Liam Spencer is the human embodiment of a romantic seesaw, bouncing endlessly between Hope and Steffi with the emotional consistency of a pancake. He's not a misunderstood man caught between two loves. He's a pattern, a cycle, a loop of indecision that has left Hope emotionally exhausted for years. And now, just as she's finally found a moment of peace, finally walking away from Carter Walton and the entire mess, Her parents are encouraging her to leap right back into the same pit of pain she only just crawled out of. It's malpractice, honestly. Brooke knows better. Or at least she should. And Deacon? For all his fatherly affection, he's out here romanticizing a man who has consistently abandoned his daughter for Steffi every time the wind changes direction. What exactly are they hoping for? That Liam will magically become decisive? That he'll stop hurting Hope just because she lets him? No, he won't. Because he never has. Hope deserves better. Period. She deserves someone who chooses her because he loves her, not because Steffi didn't answer the phone that morning. She's not a backup plan. She's not the safe option. And if she listens to her parents this time, she might find herself right back in the same emotional prison she finally escaped. The writers are teeing up another Liam Hope Steffi triangle, but for once, Hope needs to say no. For good. But even this storm pales in comparison to what's brewing behind bars. Because this week, The Bold and the Beautiful pulled the trigger on a twist no one saw coming. Poppy Nozawa is the villain. Yes, Poppy, the calm, serene, misunderstood mother of Luna who, until now, seemed like a woman caught in unfortunate circumstances. But when she visits Luna in jail, the facade shatters. Gone is the concerned mother. In her place is a manipulative, dangerous woman who sees her daughter's crimes not as mistakes, but as performances. You got pregnant by a billionaire's son, she whispers to Luna. A sinister smile creeping across her face. Well done. You played your part beautifully. That isn't support. That's strategy. Turns out, Poppy may have been pulling the strings this entire time. Encouraging Luna to seduce Will Spencer. Coaching her through deceit and manipulation. Maybe even orchestrating the entire attack on Steffi to eliminate an obstacle. Suddenly, the soft-spoken woman from the beginning of this storyline looks more like a Bond villain than a grieving mother. And this reframes everything. Every look, every conversation, every decision. How long has she been scheming? Did she plant Luna in Finn's life deliberately? Is she angling for a Spencer fortune through her daughter's child? Has this been a long game of inheritance, power, and positioning? Whatever the case, the fallout is monumental. If Luna was acting on her mother's instructions, that doesn't absolve her, it implicates them both. It also hints at a broader conspiracy. What else has Poppy set in motion behind the scenes? Who else has she manipulated? Who else is in her crosshairs? The Poppy reveal changes the temperature of the entire show. She's no longer a side character. She's a central threat, and if she's allowed to walk free while her daughter takes the fall, that threat will only grow. So where does that leave us heading into the rest of the week? Steffi is at war. Not just with Luna, not just with Finn, but with the emotional wreckage of being betrayed again. She wants a clean break, and now she realizes she may never get it. Her homecoming has turned into a prison sentence. One where Luna is always just one step away from invading her life. Hope is at a crossroads, teetering on the edge of another Liam disaster. She's just tasted freedom, and yet her parents are pushing her right back into the lion's den. The only question is, will she cave, or finally stand up for herself and demand something real? And Luna? Luna's trapped both by her crimes and by her mother's machinations. But if Poppy has more cards to play, prison might not be the end of the line. It could be the beginning of something far more twisted. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, expect implosions. Steffi's anger isn't just simmering, it's nuclear. Hope's heart is being pulled in the worst possible direction. And Poppy? Poppy just took off her mask, and underneath is a monster no one expected. The piece is over. The chaos has just begun.